Hello again. Welcome to the strategy course. We're going to be talking about expropriation. And what I'm trying to get at here is when you have a company, sources of advantage, fantastic. I have a competitive advantage. I'm doing well. I'm able to fend off competitors, satisfy my customers. But in some occasions, regulations may change, and all of a sudden, the way in which I compete, my business model, my existence as a company might be jeopardized. So that's the story that we're going to be discussing today, and that's the important issue of political strategies. And strategies so that you can influence the government to your advantage, so that basically you can have a company and a business model that works well and creates value for customers, and you're able to capture some of that value. So what we're going to be discussing, what is political strategy, different types of political strategy, and then how do you protect from expropriation? How do you play government games? How do we become more strategic in our interactions with the government? So political strategy, strategies that I take to try to influence the government policy, so that I can get something that is good for me, a contract with the government, some subsidies, or I can try to avoid something that is not going to be good for me, taxes, onerous regulations. The notion here is it is the government, the one I'm interacting with, and I'm trying to get a sense of how to bring the government into my area so that they understand what I'm doing and they support my ability to continue operating. Idea underlying the story is the political marketplaces. We have product marketplaces. We are competing for products. Products are competing against each other, or services, so that customers select one of them. Here it is a political marketplace. Ideas are competing against each other, so that some of them are going to be supported and not others. How do we achieve these mechanisms? Three of them. This assumes a democratic system, but nevertheless, it is important. Information strategy and providing information to decision makers so that they take this into account. And these are the ideas. Look, if I have my ideas on the table, so to speak, they might be considered, they may have more more knowledge, a better understanding of what is happening, and that may help basically make decisions that are aligned with my interest. How do I achieve this lobbying? I can hire people who are registered. All of this is legal. Legal in some countries. In some countries there is no room for lobbyists. I can try to basically, with these lobbyists, meet with politicians and try to inform them of our preferences and needs. We can also commission research projects or issue research projects so that they are part of the debate regarding regulation, or we can provide directly that information, or we have the technical reports. The notion here is, because it is a market for ideas, if I can have my ideas being there, they might be considered, and maybe if the evidence is strong enough, or they consider it to be strong enough, they might issue regulations that are aligned with my objectives. Another way is financial incentives. Again, there is variation across countries. Some countries do not allow companies to provide money to politicians. But in other countries, it is legal, it is transparent. You know who has donated what to which politician. It is contributions to the politician or political party. Again, variations across countries. In some countries, you contribute to the party. In others, it is to direct individuals who are being might be re-elected. You can basically provide some services. You can try to get people to align their interests with yours. The important thing here, you're not buying politicians. That's bribery. What you're doing is trying to provide incentives so that they're aligned. Yes, gray area or tricky story, difference between bribery and lobbying. The important thing here is one is illegal, the other is legal. One is obscure, opaque, we don't know what is happening. The other is transparent. Hey, those politicians are getting the money or they are getting the information, I can basically try to counter my opponent in the game of political idea. And then there is the third way in which we can do this, which is trying to get somebody to provide the information, or in some cases, the donations that will be aligned with our interests, and that's constituency building. And here, let's organize pressure groups so that, yes, I can try to get employees or maybe customers or maybe citizens in general. Look, this is good for you. Why don't you call your representative and let them know that this is something that you really care about? These are advertisements, public relations, conferences. The idea here is you are not going to be doing directly, but all of a sudden politicians are going to be influenced indirectly because others are interested. This is building coalitions with others who might also be aligned with your particular desires, and then try to influence the political system so that regulations are beneficial for your objectives. Of course, what I mentioned before, bribery happens. It is illegal. Do not try to do it. But nevertheless, the notion here is indirectly, it is, well, it's not an influence story. It is a determination selection. Tit for tat. I give you this money. These things are going to be happening. Don't get into this. Not only for moral, but also for legal reasons. And the important thing to remember here is there is always another set of alternatives to try to influence politicians. With this, we get into an understanding of the process. How do we go about this? So first thing is understanding the role of the government, which in political games, it takes two. And this is the interesting part in which the same actor can, on the one hand, make the rules, create new regulations, new legislation. On the other hand, they can implement the rules. So they're going to act as a referee. There are judges that are going to say, yes, this is the current regulation. You are aligned with it or you are not aligned with this. So we understand this. So this is why political games are slightly different from traditional competitive games. Let's understand what is the role of the government. What are we wanting them to do? Let's also understand what is the political game we are playing. It is a value net. And the idea here is within the industry game. It's a story of companies competing or collaborating with each other, trying to outcompete each other. And it is the rules that are going to drive those relationships. Versus the story of public interest, it is companies have a common agreement, common desire, and then it is other actors outside the industry, stakeholders, interest groups, customers, suppliers, distributors, local communities, the ones that might have some concerns about what is going to happen, and therefore you're going to have a challenge in which you are asking the government to intervene because you are having this discussion with groups outside the industry. Although, in general, in the case of value nets, we are talking about the government as a referee. And in the case of public interest, we are talking about the government as a rulemaker. It's not always the case. We can have the government act on both sides in the two different types of games. And this is one of the, if you want, summaries. Value net games, companies within the same industry collaborating and competing against each other. I want them to be a rule maker. I want them to create rules that are going to clarify competition policy, that are going to clarify intellectual property and its protection, that are going to be basically establishing the rules of the game within the industry. As a referee, well, there are already these rules of the game. Look, I don't agree with the way in which my competitor is behaving, so why don't we enforce antitrust policy, intellectual property protection, things like this. The public interest game, well, it is companies within the same industry interest against others, or in some cases aligned with others outside the industry. So why don't we ask the government to create new regulations that are going to basically clarify those relationships? There might be some tensions in terms of labor relations, so new labor law, environmental impact, new environmental regulations, things like this. And then the alternative is, well, it's the referee, the role of the government, and we already have these environmental regulations. Can you please basically enforce them, implement them so that companies are going to be behaving the way they should be behaving according to the law? So this is a story. This is how we have to start thinking about government games. Government acting in two different roles and having two different alternatives. And then if we go slightly deeper within the value net games, what is the role of the government? Well, there are different ways in which companies can interact with each other, and governments are going to play a larger role here. So it's the imitation story. Look, I have all this intellectual property. I want the government to protect it so that others don't take advantage of this. Well, we want to merge. We want to acquire another company. It's going to be good for us. We have a bigger market share. Maybe the government is not going to be so happy. Antitrust issues. What I want is to keep others from the industry. One way of doing it is basically, this is my technology, this is going to be the standard, so maybe it's not something that is going to be good. There might be competition among standards, which might not be the best for technological development. Government might want to step in. Entry is another story, keeping companies out of the industry, barriers, and then, of course, the story of, look, I can ask the government to try to do that. Typically, maybe not with domestic companies, but in many cases, look, foreign competitors are being unfair, and therefore we should do something about it. So there's always this area in which I'm trying to use the government as another tool against my competitors. Or hold up, which is basically I want them to be more competitive so that they cannot exercise market power against me. So why can I ask not just within my industry, but thinking about other industries, can I ask basically the government to intervene there? So these are the many different options in terms of the relations among companies. And then getting into the process. How do I plan for this? It's a negotiation process. I have to try to influence others. So what is the game we are talking about? Is this going to be a public interest? It is companies aligned interests against the interests of others outside the industry, or value net within the industry. I want to collaborate with companies, or I want other companies, or I want to compete against them. How do we play this? What are the players? Yes, I am one of them. My competitors might be others. Interest groups might be others. Of course, the government is going to be an important one. Which government are we talking about? Central or federal level, state or province, or local level? Who are the people who are basically in government? Customers, suppliers, environmental groups, labor groups, interest groups, anybody else who might want to have a say here. Again, all of this is competition for ideas to be implemented. And then what do we want the government to do? I'm interested in, look, the regulations, why don't you just act as a referee? Others may want those regulations to be changed. They might want the government not to act as a referee, but as a rule maker. And then what do I want to achieve? Changing the rules is difficult because once you have rules in place, people are benefiting from those rules, and therefore, if you're thinking about changing them, they are going to react that, look, I have all these benefits. I'm not going to be happy with you trying to undermine my benefits. If you want implementation of rules, they tend to be simpler. So it is, look, these are the rules. Why don't we just do this? But hey, maybe I want to do alternative things, and maybe I want to modify them, not change it, but modify them slightly so they are not enforced as harshly. Or I want basically to postpone them so that it's not this year, but in a couple of years, so that I have some time to basically benefit from the current situation. There are many different alternatives, and then it's basically who can I work with, coalitions of aligned interests, who is going to be my opponent, and get into a game of influencing the government through information, through financial incentives, or indirectly through constituency building. So that's all. That's the story of political strategy. The challenge to the ability of a company to create value is from changes in regulations. I have to start thinking about them. How do I influence the government to get benefits or avoid cost bads? And then can I provide them with information, financial incentives, or a constituency building so that there is an indirect influence on the government? And then protection from expropriation, going deep into understanding the process, understanding what is the game, value net or public interest, because how I'm going to play the influence strategy is going to be different. What is the role of the government? Who are the other players? What do they want? What do I want? And how that might map, and then get into a game in which I have to start playing the game and then thinking about how to achieve this so that at the end of the day, the government enforces or creates rules that are going to be aligned with my needs and objectives. That's all. Thank you very much.